we are looking at comprehension, and we want to look at another piece, and the piece is a poem. Remember the first comprehension piece of cake we had was a dialogue. This one is a poem. How I love poems, how I love poetry. I know you also enjoy poetry very much. You know very well that poetry is that kind of writing, that kind of composition, whereby someone expresses his or her. They express their feelings, sometimes by hiding them in words. Sometimes the words are fewer than if they were to write their feelings written, appearing in sentences. So here you have lines, you have verses or stanzas, and sometimes you find some poems are shorter than others. Others are bigger than others in the sense of how many words there are. Other poems have rhythm, have music in them. They rhyme, and yet others do not. But don't worry, so long as you have read and comprehended and understood the poem. And of course, one of these months, I'd like to see you composing some poems. I have engaged my children, and 2 of them have already started writing poems. They have started composing poems. Can you imagine? One is in primary 6, and yet the other one is in primary 5. I'm happy for that. I love poetry, and they have shown me that they love it too. Read this poem and answer the questions on it correctly. Answer the questions on it correctly. We expect you to answer all the questions properly, correctly, and without, going round in circles. You should be direct and answer according to how the question has been structured, according to how the question has been constructed. Punctuate them properly. Yes, without you punctuating your answers properly, you can never have clearly written answers. You can never have correct answers because they must be well punctuated. Their spellings should be right, so their grammar must be correct. And most importantly of all, the handwriting must be angelic. Okay? The handwriting must be like that of an angel. Angelic, like that of an angel. Animal cries. Animal cries. We're going to see how animals cry. When a baby is born, it cries. Okay, when you talk about a baby, we don't mind whether that baby is male or female, whether it is a boy or girl. So we always say that baby is crying. It is crying. Don't say he is crying unless you're sure of whether this baby is a boy or a girl. So we don't mind. Many times in Africa, people say, what kind of baby has she produced? What kind of baby has she delivered? Is it a boy or a girl? People are very much concerned. But among the whites, like these ones who own English as their mother tongue, decided to hide the sex, the gender of the baby, until that baby has grown to some level of growing and development. So animal cries. Animals cry just like the baby does. But we learned about the different sounds that are produced by different animals. For example, John, what sound does a cow produce? Don't copy from what is in the poem. Yes? What sound does the cow produce? Okay, we call it lowing or mooing. Moo. Moo. So we say the cow is lowing or it is mooing. What about the lion? Okay, this the lion roars. That's a roar, R-O-A-R. So every animal has its sound it produces. Now the poet here, a writer of poems, is called a poet. The poet has told us, now look, a writer of poems, a writer of rhymes. So it could be a poem, it could be a rhyme. The writer of this poem wants to show us the sounds that are produced by some animals, not all, some animals. For example, you'll not see the pig mentioned here. The sound, the cry of a pig was not mentioned here. I don't know why. Maybe because pigs do not cry a lot, okay? But I've heard them cry a lot. People butchering them, killing them, and they cry. But they cry for dear life, and yet their life has gone. So the poet, the writer of a poem, the poet, P-O-E-T. Poetry is the writing or study of poems and rhymes, poetry, and the one who writes is called a poet. If you are sure of the sex of this poet, then you say, well, Najuma is the poetess. So it's either a poet or a poetess. So a female poet is called a poetess. Just like a female writer of books is called an authoress. A writer of books, a male writer of books like me, is an author. But if it is Madame Sachimanya, Edith, then she will be an authoress. And if she writes some science books, then you shall say, well, she's the authoress of these science books. I have a brother called Mr. Mwesugwa David Atenyi, who is an author of chemistry books. An author of chemistry books at O level and A level. So he's an author. So if you have a female author, then we say that is an authoress. So this one is a poet and a poetess who studies poetry or writes it. So the poet here decided to choose some animals and show us how they cry. And as they cry, they produce cries. As they produce cries, these animals are communicating. Full stop. Okay, don't forget the full stop. So the cries that these animals produce, the cries that these animals emit, just like a volcano emits fire, cinder, and so on, and smoke, and so on. The cries that these animals produce, bring out, the cries they emit, show how much pain they have in their hearts. I repeat, the cries in this poem, the cries in this piece of poetry, in these 4 stanzas, in these 4 verses of this poetry, this piece of poetry, the cries in this poem show us how much pain the animals that are mentioned go through. Of course, there are different other cries in the last stanza. Remember, the last any part of a poem is either called a stanza or a verse. Any part of a poem is either called a stanza or a verse. One line, another line, and so on and so forth make up a verse or a stanza, just like a stanza in a song. As you know, most songs have ever been poems. Look, so we want to see the cries of animals, animal cries, not human cries. I live in great uncertainty, she moves. Okay, you have already seen which animal moves. So as the cow moves, she is telling us that her life is unsure. So when someone has a lot of uncertainty, then that means that person's life is not sure. Not sure. A condition of lack of surety. Someone is not sure whether she'll be alive tomorrow. Oh, this is a sad poem. I live in great uncertainty, she moves. So because this poem, as we're going to see, is sad, is a sad one, we say it is in a sad mood. A sad mood, mood, M-O-O-D. The mood of the poem is a sad one. There's no happiness whatsoever. There's no happiness at all. You're going to see from the beginning to the end, there is all sadness. There's no chance for us to smile. No way of us smiling and jubilating, saying, we are happy. No, we are all sad, covered in sadness.